So before we get to today's guest, Ashley Tisdale, I feel like maybe our listeners might be like, hey, wait, Ashley Tisdale, I didn't realize she was in the wellness space or a healer or a guru. But she isn't, but she's awesome. And every once in a while we like to have these fun convos with people who bring about like a bit of inspiration and a cool backstory. So, Steph, tell our listeners how That's So Retrograde got connected with Ashley Tisdale. Well, other than the fact that we're both huge Sweet Life with Zach and Cody fans.
Big fan. Ashley plays my boyfriend's girlfriend on television. So we share a boyfriend in alternate universes.
And the television show is called Clipped. It was on TBS.
They play barbers, and they're cutting hair, being sassy.
Telling jokes.
Living in Boston. Mike actually, they use real scissors on that show. Fun anecdote. And he was doing this thing for a while where he was spinning the scissors like when they weren't shooting. And he fucking spun the scissors and sliced his hand clear open in the space between his thumb and his first finger.
And they give real haircuts, right?
Yeah, these people, they hire like extras to come in. They let actors cut their hair.
Insane.
Like, how badly do you want to be on TV that you let a fucking improv actor give you a haircut? No, but they were trained and stuff. But, I mean, I don't want my SAG card that bad.
So aside from Ashley being your BF's co-star,
yes,
or boyf, as Emu, our producer, would call it,
the kids,
which I love.
These kids.
You guys recently did improv together.
Yeah, so we met on the set of Clipped, and then we hung out a bunch, and then we ended up doing a guest spot on Mike and Joey's opening set at the LA Improv Fest.
And their improv team is called Sister. Your boyfriend is one half of it. My boyfriend is the other half of it. Joey, shout out to Joey.
Then me and Ashley did this show, and I had like a whole newfound respect and love for the craft of improv. Okay, so anyways, so her and I have become friends, and when we were doing improv, I was pleasantly surprised at the insight she has onto like why I do things that are scary. And I'm just so impressed with how much of a boss she is in her life and how much she's doing all the time. She's constantly moving, constantly working, and she's so like grounded and together, and she maintains such a calm about her. And I just was like, you would be a great guest for the podcast, because even though you, like you said, you're not a life guru or a, you know,
wellness practitioner,
whatever, it's like you're doing something right. And I think that's valuable for our listeners.
Yeah, and she's also kind of our height too, so that's also a prereq.
And we really like people who look similar to us.
Yeah, that's the thing.
So
welcome to the show, Ashley Tisdale French.
She's married, you guys.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Thank you for coming.
Oh my gosh, well, thanks for inviting me.
No problem. Well, because Elizabeth and I always call ourselves the Fat Olsons.
That's
and
hilarious. And then I told you were my Mary Kate to my Ashley.
Yeah, so I'm real divided, guys. You guys are going to have to duke
I
it
know.
out.
We really are. We really
watch
really
it.
Yeah.
I really wanted to have you on after we did improv together.
That was a bonding experience.
That
for
really
sure.
was. And right before we went, we were rehearsing at Ashley's house, and I don't know, it got real for me. I was like, I'm actually like so scared. Like, I'm freaking out. And she gave this speech about just like not giving a fuck and like not being afraid.
Yeah, I guess, for me, I don't know what it was, but I think turning 30, it just kind of like popped into my head that I've always not done stuff because of like fear of like it not turning out right. And I think since I've turned 30, I'm like, you know what? F it. Like, I am going to do whatever I want to do and not let my own like fears come into play on it. And so I was just like, come on, you only live once. Just go out there and do what scares you. And sometimes, I'm not kidding you, actually, mostly all the time, that stupid saying that's like, life begins at the end of your comfort zone is so true. Because anytime I've ever been uncomfortable is when like the best stuff happens for me.
I mean, I'm right there with the 30 thing. Like, I'm like a month out, and I'm like the last stretch where it's becoming so apparent that I have been living in certain kinds of fear, and I'm like not quite ready to let it go. This past retrograde was a real
Before I turned
challenge
30,
for me.
which I did in April, I think in my head I was like, I'm just going to tell everyone I'm still 29. And then when I turned 30, I felt like I'd earned my stripes, and I feel proud. I felt like I had crossed a threshold, and it seemed like so much bullshit kind of just like went by the wayside.
It's so true. I think a lot of women specifically get scared of turning 30. You're like, oh, you're getting older.
Feels
but it's
so
like,
old.
You are. And it's weird though, because people have always thought I'm younger than my age. And I just like, people they don't like treat me like a 30-year-old. So
Yeah.
it's just like, whatever, I'm turning 30. Like, no, everybody thinks I'm 25 still. So it's not really that big of a deal to me. But at the same time, it is like you just feel so much more secure about so many different things. And I'm very lucky where I'm just like really happy and like
Grounded.
just kind of, yeah.
Both of you, Stephanie, you're on stage for a living. You've been acting for how long now?
Since I was 3.
Wow. So,
Damn.
I mean, I don't know if that's acting when you're 3, but
You're just like a blob.
You're just like a blob in a commercial.
Yeah. So let's stay on the topic of going out of your comfort zone. So High School Musical was when?
That was a long time ago.
It
It's
was
another
like-
lifetime.
You were in your 20s.
Just had turned, I think, like 19 or 20.
At the beginning?
At the High School Musical one. It ended, I think, 10 years ago, 7 years ago was the last one.
Oh, whoa. So it's been a long time.
It's been a lifetime, yeah.
does
Okay.
it feel weird that people like constantly associate you with something that's kind of, I'm sure, that much out of your realm of association for yourself?
Yeah, it's hard because I never want to be ungrateful for everything it's given me. I mean, it's like one of the best experiences of my life. To be in something that huge was just like, holy shit, you know? I've done so much stuff since then, and so sometimes it's like I have been put in a box from like a business side. Like there's sometimes where people won't cast me in something because they're just like, oh, she's Sharpay. And I'm like, no, I'm not Sharpay.
Yeah.
And it's like I constantly, like anything I've done since then, I've worked my ass off trying to get. Like I have gone in, I fought for those roles. It's not like I was given it because I was part of it. It was more like I had to prove to them that I can do something different. I actually think that that's what makes me so grateful in the end.
You can have something awesome happen to you and still want something else. So it's like it never really stops. And no matter where you are in your life or in your career, you're going to have that same feeling.
Yeah,
So I think it's,
that's what's surprising is a lot of people don't realize that no matter what, you will always be like auditioning and fighting for something. The good stuff, the really good stuff, that stuff never gets given to you. I think even like the greatest actors and like, you know, the most, you know, movie actors, I think they still fight because there's so many of them like trying to probably get the same exact like amazing role. So it's like you're always going to have to fight for it. So you have to have that drive, I think.
100%.
And on the human side of things, and a theme we explore so much on the show is just how we evolve and how we grow. And the job I had 5 years ago isn't where I'm at now, and you move through those things. And just because it's in a public spotlight and it's something that is kind of in a capsule of history of entertainment and in our minds,
Yeah.
we tend to label a person with that.
Yeah.
But so it's so cool to hear you talk about how you've moved past that. And I love that you started a production company after
Thank
that.
you.
Tell us about what inspired you to do that.
Yeah, I started it when I did the second movie. So it was before the third movie came out. Everybody was at the time doing a lot of clothing lines and like doing other things. And I'm like, oh, I love, clothing lines, and I want to do that one day, but I was just like, because everyone's doing it, I just kind of turned to my manager and I was just like, I really want to do a production company. And he was like, okay. He was like, why do you want to do production? I'm like, I honestly have had ideas since I was like 14 years old, and I would write down ideas of like TV shows or characters, but I had no idea on how to kind of, actually form it into something. And so me and my producing partner kind of came together, and I had this brand, Blondie Girl. I watch a lot of TV, so much stuff, like unscripted and scripted. And so I wanted to kind of have a company where it's more of like producers that are women that are going out there, like just like the whole girl boss thing that's happening right now. Like I've been doing that for like the last 8 years with Blondie Girl Productions. So it's just something that I felt like was needed, and I wanted to just like kind of create stories for women who were my age or older or younger, and just kind of have these like awesome like heroic characters. And so that's kind of like what made me want to do that. And it now like 8 years later, it's like pretty crazy because I never really looked too far ahead, but to kind of see what we've accomplished so far in the company is like pretty amazing. So it's been awesome.
You guys are producing Young and Hungry on ABC Family.
Yeah, we have Young and Hungry and ABC
It's
Family
no longer
going into
ABC
its-
Family stuff.
It's freeform.
Wait, no. They're seeing a trend, and they're like, well, millennials won't get it, but like whatever the generation underneath them, they'll really like the idea of freeform because we're living in like a post-gender society, and like that's what ABC Family is like probably trying to cater to.
Stephanie has put
Standards
a lot
and
of thought
You
into
guys have
that.
put so much thought into it.
No, because I feel like it's like when something like that really does that, that's like they're making a statement.
I know.
Of like, this is the kind of like brand we want to have and this is the kind of content we want to produce. But to me, I'm just like, I mean, you guys are trying too hard. You have a show on that channel?
But
so
I love that channel.
We love them.
Love
Yeah.
Stay alive. We don't care what you're called.
Yeah, so that's going into a third season. But we've done like unscripted for E. We had like a show called Misadvised on Bravo. We have even more unscripted and scripted stuff in development right now. It's really cool because I finally found my voice when we were doing Young and Hungry as a producer. You kind of have like a defining moment, I think, when you find your voice. And I was always trying to figure it out. And then suddenly I was just like kind of speaking up and confident that like decisions and choices were right. And it was so great because along the way, everybody, like all the decisions I kind of like came up with and the opinions that I had, they were like validated and people were really backing me up on it. So I felt like, oh, I finally found it. And that was really awesome.
Was there a moment that clicked in particular?
It was when we were having a conference call with ABC Family at the time, and it was a bunch of executives. We had the president on the line. Usually kind of in those situations, there's so many people that you don't want to like, you're just kind of hearing everything and you're like going with, and I just was like, oh no, I just felt completely different about a character. And I was just like, I'm telling you guys, and I kind of spoke up, and a lot of people, they were just not used to me speaking up about something, and it was in that moment that even the ABC Family execs were like, she knows what she's like, this is exactly what we need, this is like what we're going for. And so it's like, it was so crazy because they just got so excited, and I was just like, wow, like, okay, so that was a good idea to like speak up. Like, it's like sometimes when you're so nervous that you're just like, do I do that, do I say something? And it was just kind of like a defining moment where I was just like, oh, like,
You're like,
that was right.
I'm not stupid.
I'm really smart.
Yeah, that's great.
I might be blonde, but it's bleach. I'm just kidding. I was kidding.
No, you're not. You're not a natural blonde.
No, I'm not a natural blonde. But for all the blondes out there.
Yeah, right. We'll be fine.
Stephanie is naturally pink.
Yeah, I dyed my roots so it would look natural.
Yeah.
So funny. It's so cute.
It's
Thank
really
you.
cool.
So you were doing the production company, and then you were like, "This isn't enough. I need more. I need more on my plate."
With the production company, it's great because I'm over there and I like, I go in, have meetings and everything, but it doesn't take up so much of my time because I have my sister there, I have an executive. It's like people are running it. And so, with the Haute Mess, it was kind of like the same thing. It was just that for me, I felt like I had such an amazing audience on social media, like on Twitter and Instagram.
You have the most loyal, like, interactive fans of any person.
They are pretty amazing. The Brazilians are awesome.
Ashley Tisdale, Brazil.
Yeah.
So active.
I mean, they find pictures that I don't even know existed. It's like insane. But I felt like there was such amazing, like, I was like, gosh, like, I have so many followers. Like, and I just felt like I was just like tweeting these random things. Like half the time I'm tweeting song lyrics. I'm like, what are they getting from this? And I was just like, what can I give them that, could be a destination that's online, that is kind of something that's like a passion project for me, and really kind of it engulfs and like enwraps like, the girl boss of like what I do. I think people hear that I have a production company, but they don't know that I'm like in meetings, like I'm on sets, like I'm actually there and I'm being a producer. They think I'm just like a title or something, and I'm like, no, this is hard work, and this is kind of like my journey. And so that's kind of what the Haute Mess kind of came out of, was creating like a space for my fans and other people for someone who's in like their 20s or 30s to, realize that in every part of my life, I've always felt like a little bit of a hot mess. And I'm always like,
and that's spelled Haute.
Yes. I know it's called Haute Mess, but we don't call it that. Everybody's like, it's Haute. I'm like, no, it's not.
That's really funny.
It's a play on play word. So
that's great.
It's really just for like, the girl that isn't perfect and that, kind of embraces that side of her and can still be a girl boss or can still like do whatever they want. And if you just like focus and like go at it, it's just kind of like a little destination for those girls that are still learning along the way, because you can be really great at something, but I think you're always learning. So
that's like the essence of like, I feel like where like we converge in a lot of ways, because it's like you said, you had so many followers, you had this platform, like you don't have to say anything. I mean, no one's holding a gun to your head being like, hey, make a difference, like be a positive impact. And no one's doing that to us, being like, you should explore your love for wellness and make everyone listen to you talk about it. Like no one makes anyone do that. So I think it's really cool that you're deciding to be like, look, we're all gonna die one day and we're all in pain. And